One area where our discoveries of the pervasive nature of neuroplasticity is going to have an important impact is in the area of psychometric assessment, and in particular things like IQ assessments, etc. As you know, the whole issue of IQ tends to create very strong feelings one way or the other. And one of the concerns associated with that, which is not unrealistic, is the fact that once a child is labelled as having a fixed IQ, that in a sense that's the end of the story. The child feels that there are certain options that are available to him or her and others that are not, simply because their IQ is whatever it is. While IQ measures something, what our understanding of neuroplasticity seems to suggest is that it is almost certainly not fixed. Almost certainly experience, learning, training in various forms, etc., can actually influence the brain's capacity. We know the skills will actually change. One of the areas that I'm interested in looking at in research is the effect of training. And at this stage, what I've been doing is looking at how people vary in their proficiency on certain types of tasks, and how that proficiency is related to the way that different regions of the brain talk to each other. Now, although I haven't gone on to this study, I'm quite sure that the capacity of these different regions of the brain to talk to each other is also influenced very strongly by neuroplastic processes. So while new brain imaging techniques have revealed differences in the brain which are, for example, IQ related, or differences in the brain which are associated with different levels of ability, this does not suggest, to my way of thinking, some sort of biological determinism, because the biology is there. When we happen to take the image, for example, that more or less fixes it from then on. If anything, what our neuroimaging and neuroscience is pointing out is that the brain has this amazing capacity to reorganize itself, and that includes changing cognitive capacities. I'm really very convinced of that. Of course, there are individual differences. The amount of effort that might be required for one individual to reach a certain level of proficiency will be different to another. But the point is that that level of proficiency, I believe, can be achieved by both of them, if one's using a relatively simple end market. But more generally, I believe that the notion of a fixed, immutable IQ is really a nonsense. It is saying something at that time, but if that's saying that in turn says that's what your potential is, that's nonsense. The potential is much richer than we had even dreamed 10, 15 years ago. So at most, these psychometric measures are a useful indicator of what might be happening at present, and could be useful as feedback information if one wants to change. But beyond that, they are not indicators of potential.